Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. It's time for more Reddit stories, so let's get right into it. And be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this, and let's begin. Entitled coworker called the cops on me after I had to make moves to evade a road rage driver. Earlier tonight, I went to an event my boss holds once a month, where everyone shows up to a fancy restaurant and has dinner, and gets some human-to-human interaction, which my boss apparently felt was lacking. He pays for all of it, and I'm a fan of the food. Less so the people, but I feel like that's life. And college wasn't so long ago that I turned my nose up at a free meal. The coworker in question found herself without a ride home and several drinks in, after her ride had a family emergency and had to leave early. My car's cheap to run, so I offered to give her a lift home. It's worth noting that I am in no way, shape, or form a speed freak. I lost a loved one in a car wreck, and I am sure as crap not going to be doing that to someone else just so I can get an adrenaline rush. Coworker is the sort of girl that, when anxious, does not stop talking. Like, I'm not sure how she's able to breathe with how much she talks. For the most part, I didn't mind, just focusing on following GPS directions and getting her home safe, with an occasional agreement noise thrown in. Then a wild BMW with a hair up his ass decides he wants to play games. I'm not aware of anything I did, other than drive a fancy electric car that could have drawn his ire. But on a highway that did have a small amount of traffic, this idiot started to orbit my car. He'd come up on the left, cut in front of me way too close, brake check, then drop back on the right, and pull up so close he'd smell the exhaust if my car had any. I had no idea what this dude's issue was, and I had absolutely no idea if he was on drugs, or could come close to cashing the checks his balls were riding around my car. I also had no desire to get into a car accident. The entire time I'm realizing how dangerous the situation could be, coworker is just chattering away. I kept trying to get a word in edgewise and couldn't, and eventually I got sick of waiting and just cut her off, in the voice reserved for when crap is at the fan. "Courtney, buckle up and please be quiet. I need to concentrate for a minute." She buckled up, but did not shut up. "Huh? What's going on? What do you mean you need to concentrate? Is it that BMW? Are we in danger? I should call my boyfriend." Panic was rising in her voice at the same time, and I was stressed out enough that I just said, "Shut up." Then I hit the button that saves the last 10 minutes of dashcam footage on the off chance that we got pulled over, and waited for a moment where the road was mostly clear ahead of us. I saw the chance and took it, and we shot off like a rocket. BMW tried to pursue, but if my baby's got anything in excess, it's definitely acceleration. We took off, and first chance I got when I couldn't see the other car's headlights, I took an exit. Total time to evade? Less than a minute. Did we hit triple digits? I can neither confirm nor deny. Was it safer than letting that idiot keep doing what he was doing or risking him following us off the highway? You're damn right it was. As soon as we were off the highway, I pulled over for a minute and apologized for what had happened, and explained my reasoning as best I could. We were actually only an exit early, so we just took back roads to her house, and she got out without another word. I felt kinda guilty because she was crying the entire time after we got off the highway, and that was a little bit scary. The drive from her place to mine was uneventful, until I rolled down my dead-end street and saw a police car waiting for me. I had the delightful experience of a field sobriety test in my own driveway, which I passed. I gave the officer a Cliff Notes version of events, with footage to back it up. The officer was not surprised by what the dashcam showed, and said I shouldn't make it a habit and to have a nice night. Well, if I was OP, that would definitely be the last time I ever gave her a ride home, and I'm sure OP's thinking the same thing. I mean, it's pretty obvious that she was the one that called the cops on OP. Who in the world would do that to someone who gave you a ride home? If she had any sense, she would see that OP made the right move there. Sure, OP might have gone over 100 miles per hour, but they were being pursued by someone that was obviously dangerous. The way it looks, and based off the fact that she was crying and didn't say a word on the way home, it seems to me that she must have taken offense to OP giving her some attitude. But she instead called the cops and apparently gave them OP's address, since they were actually waiting for OP at their house. You break, you buy. I was a witness to this situation. Many moons ago, I worked for a very large guitar/music store in Hollywood. When a customer wanted to try out a guitar, any guitar, we were required to get that guitar down from the wall. This often involved climbing a big ladder to get a guitar. The more expensive the instrument, the higher up it was to make it harder to steal. There was a customer that came in nearly every day and always requested the most expensive guitar. He would then choose the most expensive amplifier. turn it all the way up, and sit for hours jamming. Or at least he thought he was jamming. To us, it sounded like small furry animals being killed. This guy also never actually bought anything. He would just pick up free guitar picks with the store logo and leave when he was done. One day, a guitar salesman finally hit his breaking point and hatched a plan. He knew that a brand new, stupidly expensive amp had just come in, and that our favorite customer would surely pick that one when he next came in. So the guitar salesman went over to the pro audio department and borrowed a fog machine and hid it behind the new amp. So when the not-so-talented customer came back in, the guitar salesman made sure to be the one to take care of him. He climbed the ladder and got down a guitar worth several thousand, and followed the customer to the new amp. The customer was stoked. The guitar salesman let the guy get through his warm-ups and really get going on his jamming, before secretly turning on the fog machine. It honestly looked like the whole amp was about to go up in flames. The guitar salesman quickly took the guitar from the customer and told him that he'd have to get a manager. The customer had turned the amp up too far and had fried it. Unfortunately, he'd have to pay for it. Store policy. You break, you buy. The look on the customer's face was priceless, and I've never seen anyone get the hell out of that store faster. Never saw him again. Needless to say, the guitar salesman was our hero, and many beers were bought for him. Good times. What's really amusing to me is that when he was confronted about supposedly breaking the equipment, he just makes a break for it. That shows you exactly what would happen when and if he actually did break something expensive. Safe to say he's never coming back there again, so this actually proved to be pretty effective in scaring him off. Entitled teacher tries to tell me I don't have epilepsy because I don't have grand mal seizures. I have epilepsy. It's very weird. Like, I don't have grand mal seizures very often, but I get absent seizures, and those seizures where you shake but don't convulse. Well, this happened when I was in high school. All of my teachers knew about my absent seizures, including the Karen teacher. I had just been put on oxcarbazepine, generic for trileptal, and the main side effect was having seizures more often. I had an absent seizure in the Karen teacher's class, and my friend who sat next to me, Y, began to try to snap me out of it. The following occurred, and I was told by Y later what happened. "OP, why aren't you doing what I told the class to do?" said the teacher. "She has epilepsy. She's having an absent seizure. Just let me get her back to reality," said Y. "My cousin has epilepsy and convulses when she has them, so she doesn't have epilepsy and is just faking it. OP, if you don't do what I assigned in the next moment, you will have detention," said Karen. She sent a massive email to all teachers about the epilepsy, with doctor documentation that she does indeed have it. You cannot send her to the office for detention for a medical issue that she has no control over, said Y. "I can so, and I will do so when I see fit, Y. If you don't like it, you can go with her," said Karen. Now to know, I have only had 2 grand mal seizures in my life. Once when I was 16 and once when I was 18. I haven't had one since then, thank God, but I definitely have epilepsy. "I'll report your ass to the Board of Education if you try to do that, Karen. That's not her fault," said Y. "Yeah, she's got a medical condition, Karen. So therefore, you cannot send her out by law for this." The Karen teacher reached to touch me, and Y and S1 both jumped up and guarded me. As with absent seizures, you don't touch a person when they're in one. Y had another student go get the principal, who has the Karen teacher taken to the office, and then I snapped out of it, thank God. The Karen teacher was fired for intimidating students and trying to touch a student without their permission. Recently, she found me on Facebook and berated me for getting her fired. I didn't. Y's dad did. And causing her own kids to be taken and put into the foster care system because she didn't have the money to care for them. Turns out she got her kids taken because she didn't believe that her youngest had an allergy to peanuts and purposely packed them PB&J sandwiches for lunch to prove that her daughter was faking the allergy. Her daughter almost died from anaphylaxis. Steal my booze? I'll send the cops and apartment management after you. I'm a college student going into my sophomore year. I just moved back into my apartment a few days ago since class is starting back up soon. Of course, my friends and I threw a small party at my place, since we haven't seen each other all summer. It was pretty early in the evening, so nobody had shown up yet. My roommate and I were sitting on our balcony drinking lightly, and the girls in the apartment directly above us were also out on their balcony. Naturally, we started talking to each other from our respective balconies, and I ended up inviting them down to my place. They came down, and since there were now more people than planned, we had to go get more drinks. My roommate and I made the admittedly stupid decision to leave them in our apartment alone while we went across the street to the liquor store. When we came back, the girls were gone, and so was the beer we had in the fridge. I opened the door to my balcony and I can hear the girls up there laughing and telling their friends about how they stole our stuff. My roommate wanted to go yell at them, but I said we shouldn't escalate drama with our upstairs neighbors so early into the year. However, as the night went on and the more drunk I got, the less I gave a fuck. I knew exactly what type of beer they had since I was the one who bought it. I walked across the street to the liquor store again and picked up a 6-pack of that beer. They were bottles. You'll see why that's important soon. I waited until about 11 p.m., maybe closer to midnight, I don't know. Now that the night had really gotten started, there's more police out and about. I pull my new 6-pack out of the fridge and go out on the balcony. Remember how their balcony is directly above ours? And how they're making a bunch of noise up there, clearly having a party? Well, my friends and I were just quietly playing poker, so if a few glass bottles were to hit the sidewalk right underneath us, who would be the more likely suspect? I think you get where this is going now. I put a beer on the railing and pushed it off the ledge. Of course, I'm being careful to make sure I'm not dropping it on anyone's head. After I dropped the second one, this is starting to get a little more risky, and we needed a little more operational security. My roommate went outside, crossed the street, and every few minutes called me when it was safe to drop another bottle. Nobody walking underneath, nobody staring up at us, and no cop cars around. I couldn't drop just one bottle, because that could just be seen as a simple accident, not warranting much of a response. But 6 glass bottles, minutes apart? Someone must be up to some hilarious party tricks. I went down to the front desk of my apartment to report the girls above us for dropping the bottles off of their balcony. The cops ended up coming and gave out a bunch of tickets to them for underage drinking. I know this because I was eavesdropping on their conversations from down below. Their whining and crying and cursing was music to my drunk-ass ears. Best part is, they still have no idea it was me. Well friends, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, and comment down below. So have an amazing day, stay awesome, and take care.